excited to just, be surrounded and meet so many different people, right? And again, it just made me think like, wow, like I think so small. Like there's so many people. Like, and I couldn't believe. It's like there's so many different people on this world, and I just honestly, it just makes my heart smile. Just recently to a good friend of mine, and shout out, major shout out to Mr. Parker. But really, really just spoke about how it's better to embrace people and situations for who they are and what they're presenting themselves as in that moment. Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast. I'm your host, Jamila. If you're wondering why I started my podcast like that, it's because I wanted to kind of bring you that message, those two messages from my last podcast, Separate Yet Equal. And I've been doing this, if you've been with me since February 25th, 2023, here on Ill-Equipped, I truly just want to say thank you. Thank you so, so much for just sticking it out with me. And if you've been with me since the beginning of my podcasting journey, June 12th, 2020, when I first started this under the name Mixes of the Soul, I just want to say major, major shout out to you again for sticking along with me throughout this crazy journey of mine as I go about podcasting. And so one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is my heart smiling and being able to accept people where they're at and for who they're presenting themselves as. And so from the start of February 25th, Illmatic, we had Beauty is Pain, Approaching 30, Relationships and Self-Love, Warning Content, Explicit Content, High Emotions Adrift, Intermediate Occurring Intervals, The Failures to Succeeding When Life Serves Us Lemons Without Sugar, Heavy Warning, Heavy Content, Losing a Parent, In the Name of Success, Speaking Life into Your Life, Strangers Do Exist, Love Without Conditions, The Lone Ranger, Grace by DJ, As Told by Sarah, Love Isn't Overrated, A Rose in the Concrete, Separate Yet Equal. Whew. I tried to say that all without taking a breath. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 19, y'all. Come on. 19. So this is my 20th podcast episode. So I'm super proud of myself. And again, here on Ill-Equipped, nothing is perfect. Nothing is prepared. But the meaning of Ill-Equipped is not having the experience or preparation that is needed. And on this podcast, it will feature a host of people who don't have it all together. And if you're looking for perfect, just keep listening. The pressure of society does not live here. On this podcast, you will get to experience passion from real people with raw stories, unedited versions of the truth. So, and that's just what it is. And as you all know, I drop every Friday, Feel Good Fridays. And so it's just been a journey, truly, as I said before, just, a lot of hills and valleys. So I spoke about on Separate Yet Equal, about, being able to see the world in a way that I've never gotten to see the world, but I knew existed, right? And that making my heart smile and just bringing that to where I'm at now. And again, if you have been with me since the start of my podcast, I bring it to you real and raw. And, kind of like that, I'm kind of like in a disconnect with that because, I got a few questions, for my listeners. and also just being able to accept people for who they are and what they're presenting themselves as. So again, that's why I started my podcast with that introduction. So if you're wondering, that is why, because I'm going to basically be talking about those two things, because they actually have a lot to do with my life right now. And so my question to my listeners is, why is it when you begin, your journey to success? I mean, I know we talked about loneliness on the Lone Ranger and Adrift and how you get, distracted. But, honestly, it seems as though, you get attacked the most when you are really trying to do good. Right? So everything that I said on Separate Yet Equal is true as far as me, wanting to see the world, and also stating that, you kind of just you got to let it work itself out. And so when I mean that is that, if you leave things on the table undone, it's kind of just like running away from your problems. So I always feel as though I have to handle my business wherever I'm at before I move forward. And so it's like on this journey, even with my podcasting, I really haven't even like been in a mood, to really do an episode. I can't even lie. My heart hasn't been in a space where I can honestly say I would like it to be. But I was like, I have to get on here. I have to speak my truth again, because this is like, my safe space for me. My almost like an audio diary for me. But I have my trusty, subscribers and listeners who trust me, enough. So, yeah, honestly, it feels good to admit that, though. It feels, good to admit, certain things that are kind of like, again, it's like risky. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, but I'm here, though. Again, I'm here. And so, that's what really matters. But why is that? Why is it that when you finally do the thing that everybody else was talking about, they kind of fall off? Or it's like, you really did that? It's like, I had to, And so that, and then accepting people for what they're presenting, excuse me, again, if you're looking for perfect, just keep listening, presenting themselves as, right? So if you show me who you are, I have to accept that. And so in a way, being able to lower my standards and expectations, because I know a lot of people say you have to lower your expectations for people. And I'm at this point in my life where I don't think I can have expectations for people around me, because when I do, the only one that suffers is me. Because I realize that a lot of times we have expectations for other people that we don't have for ourselves. Right? And so a lot of times we spend time like telling somebody else what we really should be, like what we really can't tell ourselves. Right? And so I say it's like a mirror. It's like if you could see a mirror and it could be looking back at you, but it's like you talking to you. Would you be able to accept it? Right? Would you be able to accept who you are to other people? Right? Like, come on. So I think we have to really pay attention to, how we move in our lives, because it ultimately, can affect the people around us. So, again, that's my 2 messages for the start of this podcast episode. Just being able to, because I can't listen. There was a time where I was really, I had super high expectations for people. And then I was like, okay, Mila, you're no fun. You're always serious. You always want people to be perfect. And I believe there truly was a time where, my expectations were unreasonable because, I really never checked in with myself. And so people couldn't check me because I didn't check me. I felt like I was the only one that could check me. But, whatever. That's another story. But when you're in it, it's like, what? That's not me. I'm not doing that. It's not until you really start to, go on this journey of self-discovery that you really start to see yourself, hear yourself, and it's like, oh, I don't like that person. Was that me? Did I say that? I wasn't like that. And I always say it's up to us to make that change, right? So going from super, super high expectations to okay, now I'm in the middle. And now I'm I don't think I can have any, no expectations. Because, when you have expectations, even the slightest, you can get let down. So I think it's important to always remember, who you are and what you're giving to the people around you, versus what you're always receiving. Because I think a lot of us spend time focused on what we're receiving or not receiving versus what we're given. And, it's sad to say, but, it's real and raw. Those that really focus on, what they're not receiving rarely give anything. I'm going to just say what it is. So, you got to wonder why, you never get. Do you ever give? Right? Or do you just focus on all that somebody is not giving you? I don't think it works like that. But hey, what do I know? I don't know anything. But yeah. And then, not to switch topics, but to, just to switch topics. How dope was A Rose in the Concrete, June 2nd, 2023? And listen, y'all. Listen, y'all. I told y'all, I record these before, things happen and happenings, whatever. Like I said, that's a movie. I looked it up and it really was a movie. Thank you. And I know that's a fact now. Period. Okay? Because you got to do your research. So, listen, I did not do that. That was not planned. You understand what I'm saying? Tiana Taylor's drop of her Jordans was not planned, at all. You understand? It just happened like that. How dope is that? She drops on the 3rd, I drop on the 2nd. But y'all, I'm listening to it and I'm like, what is the chances? And a date, just whatever. It happened like that. It literally happened like that. I did not, switch anything around, to according to line that up. No, it just happened like that. How crazy is that, y'all? Super freaking dope. I was like, what is the chances? And if you haven't going to check out A Concrete in the Rose, please go check it out. Please, I'm not telling you what to do. I always tell you that, but I do a little bit. But whatever, I'm not pushy. Not pushy. Don't push me, cause whatever. Listen, I'm on the edge. Listen, I'm not. But somebody pull me back. Help me. Okay, help me. Pull me back. Listen, okay. All right. Here I go. Not plans, okay? Super, super dope stuff. So if you haven't gone to check it out, please go check out A Rose on the Concrete, June 2nd, 2023. Dope stuff. Happiness is Overrated. Dropped May 26th, 2023. And like I said, it's just, consistency is key, baby. And, you just got to keep going. And honestly, if you're listening to this, honestly, like when I first started this, it was like super, super high. And then like, again, I talk about like determination and motivation. And it's like, it kind of like slowly goes. And it's like, come back. So like, I'm like, I have to just be honest. Like, I really haven't been motivated. But again, it's not like life, it be life stuff. Life is life. Like I said, life be life. And, sometimes you gotta be like, ooh, like life be trying me. But, I be fighting back. Definitely be swinging hard. Okay. Can I tell y'all something funny? Look, confession. If you're listening, like, when I was young, like, there was a lot of stuff, like, that I, like, didn't understand. And so, if you haven't gone to check out Grace by DJ, Smooth as Told by Sarah, please go check it out. We talked about some crazy, embarrassing stories when I was growing up. And one of the stories, sorry y'all, I'm sideboarding real quick. If y'all know me, y'all know I'm a sideboard, but I'm gonna get back to my point. So I'm gonna tell y'all it's about blacking out. But we talked about how, very slightly, but listen, we was in a car, and I'll never forget this. My mom was talking to my aunt, and she said she needed gas. Me, I'm like, my mom need gas, whatever. I go in the back and get our gas can that goes to the lawnmower. And my cousin said I went in the house. I don't even remember getting in the house. Like, I remember being on the porch. But whatever, there's always 5 sides to a story. They say there's 3, but I'm going to say there's 5. Because everybody tell the story a little bit different. But, yeah, like my mom, I'm just going to say, Mom, I didn't know. Whatever. Like, I got my butt whooped. But I didn't understand. I was a kid. So I was like, shouldn't have minded my business. But I was just trying to help. So as I got older, there were still certain things people would say, and I would think I would understand, but then I wouldn't. So just speaking of blacking out, when people would talk about, their fighting stories, and they would say, oh, I blacked out. Once they said that, but then they kept talking about fighting, I would be like, well, how are you still fighting and you blacked out? Like, you can't fight if you blacked out. It just didn't make sense to me. So, it wasn't till, I had to realize, whatever. But I was like, okay, this is what blacking out is. Didn't know. You're still up, but you don't remember. See, I thought blacking out meant passing out. Same thing, right? Because I'm like, how are you, like, passed out, blacked out, whatever, and still fighting? Like, it don't make sense. Somebody's lying. Again, there's always 5 sides to a story. So, like, who was you fighting? Like, I don't know. But whatever. So, yeah, that was the thing. And also another funny story. Um, when I was younger, I didn't understand the objectivity of money and like its usefulness. And so when my mom would give like I knew big numbers and little numbers. And so when my mom would give like a 20 and they would give her ones and change back, like I would be like they basically robbed my mom, like now I want to fight the cashier because like give my mom her money. Like, what are you doing? Like, she just gave you a 20. Give her 20 back, like whatever. Listen, like my little mind I didn't understand. I just want to be there, so we come to like just the understanding of things as we get older. And sometimes we don't, and I be like, Lord help it. But we're here, we're in the now. And like as I talk, I kind of feel a little bit better. So again, thank y'all. If y'all are listening to this right now, super, super appreciative of you all, wherever you're at in your life. And listen, like, just listen. I was about to talk fast because I was about to tell you something. Listen. And that's where, like, my motivation comes from. Like, I'm so resilient, and we'll talk about that next in 1 second. But I just really, really want to say, like, just because you're listening to this, like, please do not feel like I hope like life is treating y'all very, very well. And you know how people be like, I hope life is treating y'all, like, no. I hope life is treating y'all well. Okay? And if it isn't, fight back. Please fight back. Like, please just don't black out, because like how you gonna fight? Like, don't make sense. Whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Fight back. Like, life be having us up and down, but listen, we are going to make it together. And like I always say, like, we are going to go to the top together. It just takes, a day at a time. Like I told y'all, don't try to get there, you know what I'm saying? Don't try to get the next week without me. It's still whatever. It's like, whatever date it is. Like, let it be that date. Like, quit trying to skip dates. Like, damn. It's talking about, I can't wait till it's Christmas. It's the summer. Can we let, can we get the 4th? Like, can we get there? Can we get the 4th? Can we get there? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But we'll make it. We'll make it to Labor's Day. We'll do all that fun stuff before we get to the best holidays. So, just taking it one day at a time and, like, not giving up. Honestly, y'all better not. I'm going to fight y'all myself if y'all do. And that's why I say, like, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and keep going. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like, again, it's just you. It's like, again, it's only going to be you. And if it's not you, it's not going to be nobody else. Like, again, I'm sorry to tell y'all, but it has to be you. You have to be the one to do it. You got to be the one to save your family, whatever. Start writing that book, start, writing down your ideas, start, hanging around the right people, start having those right conversations, turning down the right streets, going to the right places, doing the right things, doing right by the right people, doing right by yourself, so yeah, and you'll see, life will have some good things for you. So I truly, truly hope, if life isn't doing you well, again, just whatever, learn how to fight if you can't fight, but fight back. So, just bringing that to my next point about fighting back. Who I am, Meezy, Milla, whatever, Millie Rock. I go by a lot of different monikers, but, I'm Jamila, which means beautiful, period, all day. Shout out to my mama for that one. But being able to fight back, being able to be resilient, even when it feels like, I done had enough of this. I'm ready to drop the mic and walk away and y'all could just have the show, And so when, knowing you are the lead role, and I say that with grace, very humbly, because I used to really always wonder why do I keep putting in positions of leadership? And I remember there was one time where I was like, yeah, like, bye. This is for the birds. Y'all can have this. But then, I continued to be tested. God continued to put me in, places and things and, where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. And so I always, like I said, would wonder why my words, would mean so much to me. And then I'm like, okay, I got to start writing them down. So, my words became a poem book and also a book and, a podcast and, being able just to touch other people. But being able to be resilient, right? Being able to come back and rise up, right? So it's not easy to do, but some people, those that can't do it, envy that, right? Because it's like, how are you still standing? Like you should be knocked down, right? And they may not say that, but that's what they want for you. And what I'm realizing that, and I think that it's the ugly side of the truth that I already knew, but it's like coming to hold, is that I don't care what nobody, everybody does not, you hear me? I'm going to repeat, everybody, I'm going to get real close, does not want the best for you. It's unfortunate, and as much as I would, and I'm optimistic, but I'm also a realist to say, everybody does not want the best for me. But that's okay. And again, like, that's why I started my podcast in a way that I did, because I have to be able to accept people for who they're presenting themselves to me as and where they're at in their life. Because they may not want the best for me, but that's okay. They gonna be right there not wanting the best for me while I'm wishing me all the success and all those around me much success. Because that's what it's all about. Those that are around you, you should want the best for them. But again, I am a realist where I realize that even those that are closest to you don't always want the best for you. So that has to be okay. And that doesn't make my heart smile. So again, as I talked about on Separate Yet Equal, some of the things that do make my heart smile is that, I get to interact with different people. And so, you never know who has your best interest at heart, right? Like, the world is open and has so many people. So, I just always tell myself that I can't limit myself to just a certain group of people, because that's what I'm used to. I'm going to miss out on so much. And so, just another thing that I talked about with, with that, some people just arose in the concrete is that, everybody's not content where they're at in their life. And that's okay. You could be in your 30s, 40s, 50s and realize like, hey, like, I need to shake my life up a little bit. I need to, make a change. But, that's all up to you, right? Like, I can't lower myself because, your life is not, where it's at, or, you're not where you want to be, because, we all get to that point, but it's us. We got to be the ones that do something about it, like, we can't inflict that hurt and that pain on, the ones around us, especially the ones that, truly love us. So I think that's, just some important things to just remember, right? But yeah, like, I'm here, and I appreciate whoever's here listening with me. And, my messages are always clear cut and raw. Like, don't let nobody stop you from doing whatever it is that you want to do in life. And at times, like here for me, it's like, but we got to do it. Because if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? Right? There's people with my name, but they're not me, and I'm not them. And so I just got to realize what I want and what I could do and just continue to do that. And it's same for you. So I'm going to leave y'all with that message. And again, if you've been with me since 2023, skipping 2021 and 2022. And I know I love to say that because it's just that gentle reminder, like, those 2 years of inconsistency, right? Just kind of just stopping altogether, but I'm back here in 2023 every Friday, dropping for you all. So again, I'm super appreciative of you all for just taking the time out of your crazy, busy lives to listen to my unorthodox podcast here on Ill Equipped. It's just, again, I always stress it, like, do it your way. I can't do it no other way. It's not perfect. It's not pretty, and the truth sometimes, it's not what we like, but it's what we know we need to hear. Right. I always say I never want to be validated so much so that, I can't be told anything. Right. We lose out on so much. So again, on this podcast, just, getting to experience just that passion, and raw stories, just that unedited version of the truth. Right. Like, the truth is, like I said, it's not always something that we want to hear, but we know we need to hear. So again, taking that in and breathing it in. And yeah, if you haven't gone to check out my last podcast episode, Separate Yet Equal, please go check it out. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. My videos upload there as well. Again, thank you. So I don't know what we'll be talking about on my next episode, but I hope you all can tune in. Bye.